Hey guys, Introspection here. Welcome to the second installation of my series to help non-gamers understand gaming. I'm going to talk about a specific type of game, online gaming, or rather specifically why you cannot pause an online game. Now, if there are any online gamers listening to me right now, there's a good chance they just went, "Oh my gosh, yes, I have to try to explain this so much." And there's a good reason for that. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll understand why. You see, the pause button in an online game, it's not there. It doesn't exist. Go ahead and try to even look through the code. There's no way for a player to legally pause the game. Now, chances are that if you've never played an online game before, there's a slight chance you're going, "Well, that's stupid. What if someone needs to leave or for a minute or something?" Yeah, you're right. That would be helpful. But there's a reason why game developers won't let the game be paused. Let me explain it like this. Imagine a scenario where somebody's in North America, somebody is in South America, somebody's in Europe, and somebody's in Africa. If the dude in North America just pauses, then the other three people have to wait, and he can't do anything about it because he's in North America. Now, granted, it's probably not that big of a deal if it's like a minute or 2 or 3 minutes. But the problem is that you get like jerks that will enter a game simply because they'll want to pause it and just leave everybody paused. Or you'll get people who are losing and then they will pause just to make sure they don't lose. And then of course there are people that would just pause it every 2 seconds so that the game is practically unplayable. And there are other scenarios in which pausing would be bad, but the point is that for several reasons, game developers can't allow people to pause an online game. Now then, your second question might be, okay, but why can't they just shut off the computer or console that they're playing on and just leave? Okay, yeah, they technically can, but they're going to suffer consequences because of it. Let me explain it to you like this. Imagine that there's a football player and he decided that he was going to use steroids and he got caught. Chances are that the official personnel that are in charge of running whatever game he's playing are going to give him some sort of consequence. Probably something along the lines of, you can't play for several years, or you can't play for the rest of your life. Something along those lines. Well, players will suffer these kind of consequences. Granted, not for several years, of course, but if they leave a game in the middle of it too many times, then they end up suffering consequences such as not being able to play for a certain amount of time. And of course, there are other consequences that vary from game to game, but for the most part, one thing that most games will do with the online game, if you leave while other people are playing, then it will give you a penalty of some sort. Now, unfortunately, unlike in a physical sport where there's somebody that can go and evaluate the situation and then apply an appropriate consequence, there's way too many games happening for somebody to do that with a popular online game. There's several thousand people per country at any given time. So to remedy this, there's an algorithm which keeps people generally from being jerks, from like just standing there and doing nothing and forcing the rest of the team to pick up the slack, or just leaving in the middle. So for the most part, the algorithm works. But the problem is, it's an algorithm. It can't tell the difference between somebody who's just being a jerk and decided to leave to be a jerk, or if somebody's just taking out the trash. And the reason why this is a problem is because, well, A, if you're on a team and you're relying on somebody else, then they leave, well, that's a problem. Or if somebody is losing and then they leave, that would constantly happen, and that just ruins the game. And it can't really tell the difference between somebody who's taking the trash out or somebody who's just being a jerk. So, whether you're taking the trash out or being a jerk is going to give you the same punishment. It can't tell the difference because it's an algorithm. And of course, to top all this off, frankly, it's just a little disrespectful. Particularly, maybe not so much when you're not in a regular game, but when you're in a competitive game, it's kind of mean or rude, really, because in a competitive match where you're relying on your teammate to attempt to fight to the best of their abilities, and you just leave and you're fighting against somebody else who's giving it their all, then you're put at a serious disadvantage just because somebody left. Now, granted, there are some cases where it's unavoidable, but for the most part, if you just leave, it's kind of rude. Well, I hope this video kind of explains as to why a gamer can't just pause or leave an online game. Oh, but before I end this video, quick side note for you online gamers. Granted, everybody needs to consider the fact that you can't just leave the game, but this also means that you sort of gotta think ahead when you're playing an online game. If you gotta do a chore, do it before you do the online game, and if you know you're not gonna have enough time to finish an online game, don't start it. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions for what I should put in my next video, or if you just want to tell me how great of a job I did, go ahead and leave in the comments section down below. Otherwise, make sure to subscribe. And before I go, I wanted to mention that I'm still doing the Black History Month event. So go ahead and make sure to go down to the description and click on either my Instagram or Facebook to follow along. At the end of which I will be creating a top 10 Black History video. But I am still doing the Black History event where I am posting on a daily basis about those who have done quite a bit but have gone on unappreciated. Well, other than that, I hope you guys follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Make sure to hit that bell to catch me in the next 2 weeks. But until then, hear nothing and listen to all. Bye, guys.